Hi there, welcome back to ADSR Massive Tutorials. Click the button in the video to join our newsletter to get lots of great stuff, including 73 sounds for NI Massive right now. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, get yourself subscribed, youtube.com/ADSR Tuts. Starting a new feature this month, looking at what we're calling modulators, modulating modulators in NI Massive. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a 32-step arpeggiator sound. So we've looked at making some arpeggiator sounds in Massive using the stepper to modulate the pitch of the oscillators. I'm actually using two steppers here, and therefore I've got 32 steps of the arpeggiator going on. Okay, so let's start off, create a new sound here, and let's get our oscillators together. So in the oscillator 1 slot, I'm going to go for the woody wavetable. I'm going to pitch this down by 1 octave. I bring the wavetable position to about halfway to get that quite nice organy sort of tone. And then I'm going to change the mode to bend minus plus. That quite nice solid tone going there, and turn on oscillator 2 next. Take the pitch of this oscillator down by 1 octave as well, and just convert it to square saw 2. And let's bring in some more of the square wave on that wavetable, and bring the amp down to about 2/3. Oscillator 3, turn it on. Take the pitch up by 1 octave. This is going to be the kind of lead of our arpeggiator, the sort of bright, sort of buzzy top end. So it can stay as a square saw 1, but wavetable position about 3/4 of the way round, so a bit more of that square wave coming in. Roll off some of the sort of top end of it with the intensity control. And let's use a macro here to just control the amp. So then we can rename this second macro here, can rename this lead. And let's just thicken up this sound a little bit by detuning these oscillators. So minus 12.9 on oscillator 2, and I'm going to go 11.92 or 11.91. Just get that nice kind of chorusy sort of sound going. Check the restart via gate box. So get a nice consistent sound going on there. The phases of the oscillators are re-triggering with each new key press. So I think the next thing to set up really are the arpeggiators. So let's go LFO 1, convert this to a stepper, and then holding shift, click and drag the crosshair of this stepper. Let's drop it in the pitch. The first pitch modulation box on all 3 oscillators, and then we can hold Alt or Option, click and drag up, and apply plus 12 semitones of pitch modulation in all 3 oscillators. And now let's set up this stepper. So sync it, keep the ratio 1/16, and make sure this snap to grid box is highlighted so we can apply some absolute values in the stepper. And let's go plus 3, keep the second step at 0, plus 5, put 0, then plus 8, 0, and then 8 again. There was 0, 7, keep that at 0, 3, 3. And do a little bit of a sort of fill at the end. Okay, so with our first stepper set up here, what we want to do is set up another stepper in the second LFO slot, and I'm going to make it very similar to this first stepper. So what I can do here, convert this second LFO into a stepper, and then copy and paste that first LFO in here, and then I'm going to change the end of this stepper to make it slightly different, and then make use of the 32 steps in the arpeggiator. So at the end, the last 4 notes, I'm going to do a slightly different feel. So +5, +7, +10, +12. And what we want to do with this second stepper, hold shift, click and drag the crosshair this stepper, and let's go in the second pitch modulation box on all 3 oscillators and apply the same amount of pitch modulation, so +12. And so what we need to do now is work out a way of converting. So for the first bar of this sequence, we get this stepper, what we're hearing. Take the volume of this stepper off for now. We get for the first bar of the sequence, we get this stepper playing. And then take the volume of this down for now. And then the second half, or the second bar, we get this sequence. That nice kind of arpeggiated feel. So what we can do is we can use an LFO to convert the volumes of these steppers, and sync it so it's a 2/1, so every bar it switches from one stepper to the other. So go to this third LFO slot, keep it as an LFO. We want a square wave. This is going to act a bit like a switch, really. There's a complete cut off here, so it's exactly what we want. Sync it, ratio 2/1. And so for the first stepper, keep the amp at 0, click and drag the crosshair of this LFO to the amp modulation slot, click and drag up so we've got full modulation being applied, and then let's reverse this in the second stepper, amp on full, click and drag the crosshair of this LFO to the amp modulation slot, click and drag down, and so now we've got these 2 steppers with opposite modulations. So what's happening with this switch is, for the first bar we're going to get this stepper, and then the second bar it's switching the amps of the steppers, and so we're getting this second stepper. So effectively 32 steps of an arpeggiator. And so with that sorted, we can go and just thicken up the sound and just play around with the sound a little bit more. So I'm going to add a filter in here. Go for low pass 2. Take the resonance down. And let's actually bring in a performer here to modulate this low pass filter. Sync this performer, take the steps down to 8, and let's take the ratio to 1/4. Play around with the curves. And let's set a variation up. So we've got this sequence, sort of plucky sequence. Let's set a variation up in the X fade. So you get quite an interesting sort of envelope shape, a combination of these 2 X fade sequences. Set up another macro here to control the filter. I want to keep that modulation going, so actually let's remove this vibrato macro that we've got going here, drag it to the second modulation slot on the filter. So now Be nice for some automation. So rename that filter. Can add some effects in here as well. A bit of delay might sound quite nice. But these to 1/8. So increase the voices to 2 as well. Makes it sound a bit fuller. And maybe an insert. Go for sample and hold. For nice crunchy top end. And there we have it, 32-step arpeggiator sound, modulating modulators to create that sound. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Any questions, please get in touch, let us know, and make sure you get yourself over to our website massivesynth.com. Tons more tutorials on Native Instruments Massive, and thanks for watching. Alright, cheers, bye.